Michal is joining me now in the studio. Hey, Michal.
Hello, Dad.
Meeting with Asaf, that must have been a pretty emotional moment. Why did he come back to the location where it all happened?
It's a very good question, and we asked him the same thing. He arrived yesterday straight from the hospital. It's important to say he had a head injury. 2 bullets penetrated his skull. One of them actually remains inside because it was too complicated to undergo an operation to take it out, but the other one was very close to his ear. So very complex operation, and he decides that once he's released from Ichilov, he wants to go back to the same site where his evening, he was out with his girlfriend having a nice romantic dinner, ended in a very tragic way, and he came back in hopes to find some closure. But at the same time, he knew that coming back might actually not have a very positive effect. In fact, he mentioned that during the week, once he was already recovering, he was trying to connect to some other other people who were injured and wanted to kind of maybe have a gathering and have a closure that would be more of a communal, supportive experience. Right. No one was willing to return with him. His girlfriend, who was with him that night and was unharmed, at least physically, was also unwilling to return. So he comes back, well, for practical and emotional reasons. Practical because he says, I don't know where my wallet is. You know, that night we were just asking for the check, and I don't know where my belongings are. There was even room for a joke. Someone asked, well, you know, you have to still pay the bill.
Of course.
Pay the bill. He didn't pay the bill yet, and he was sitting very close to where the attackers were. So in the videos and the footage that was released in media outlets, you can actually see him fall with his head on the table, and he's trying to refrain from watching any of this footage because it's very traumatic and forces him to kind of relive all of that. So he came back in hopes of finding closure. He did not expect such a media presence. All of the channels, there were international channels there as well, a little bit overwhelmed, and hopefully psychologically this will give him the sort of closure that he wanted and not the opposite.
Now, restaurant owners, employees of these restaurants, they were not willing to interview. They did not want to be taped. Why is that?
They're not willing to talk at all. First of all, they're very hesitant, even without the camera or the microphone in hand. They're really traumatized. So, of course, the worst hit ones are those are killed or family members who have someone loved killed. They are
forced to return there, obviously.
They are forced to return there every day. Some of the staff have not returned. They've not returned to work. They have not been able to deal with it. Both of these chains, Benedict and Max Brenner, have decided basically not to talk to the media, and they've told their entire staff to do the same. They're now giving their staff psychological treatment, which who knows how long that will have to take place. And speaking to one of the owners, he told me that every time the media comes, it just makes everything resurface.
Yeah, it brings it all back.
Brings it all back, and so they're having a very hard time, and they just want to move on. Now, aside from that, even Asaf, who came back for his own personal reasons, had a very mixed impact on the employees. So there was one girl that, while I was talking to him, came back and said, do you remember me, Asaf? That was actually the waitress who had served him that night. Another waitress ran away and started crying behind the counter because she was the waitress who tended to the 2 terrorists. So this is something they're reliving every day. Very difficult reality that they can't escape because this is their job.
Thank you so much, Michal.
Thanks, Oded.